Multiple Sclerosis Today. This is a dedicated audio channel inspired by the comprehensive book, Living with Multiple Sclerosis, a guide for patients, families, and caregivers. This podcast is designed for anyone touched by multiple sclerosis, patients, families, caregivers, and healthcare professionals, offering clear, compassionate, and actionable guidance for every stage of your MS journey. Now, here's your host of the Multiple Sclerosis Today podcast, Andres Ortiz.
Hey, and welcome to Multiple Sclerosis Today. Thank you for joining us again. This episode is especially for anyone who is newly diagnosed with MS, their loved ones, or anyone who wants to understand what it's like to live with this condition. We're going to talk about the feelings people have when they first get diagnosed and how to manage daily life with MS, ways to take care of your body, your mind, and how to support and how to find that support that may be needed. And again, everyone is different. Everyone's level of MS is different. There are those that have remitting relapsing, and they may have one exacerbation and not have another one until maybe 10, 15, or even 20 or 30 years later. And then there are others where the condition progressively gets worse and that will require additional support. So let's jump in and get started. Receiving the diagnosis. What happens and how you might feel. So imagine you're sitting in a doctor's office and the doctor tells you you have multiple sclerosis. Boom, just straight out. What goes through your mind? Many people feel shocked. They're scared, even numb. That numbness is your brain's way of protecting you from feeling too much all at once. It's important to know that doctors sometimes don't have the best way of sharing this kind of news. Now, their bedside manner leaves a lot to be desired, okay, as they would say. They can be very direct and seem very harsh and very coarse, and that can make it harder for anyone to take in what is just being said. And hearing that you have a disease with no known cure, right now, that's a lot to handle. Some people may not believe it and may not believe the diagnosis at first, and they may think that, well, maybe they made a mistake. Maybe my test results got mixed up. And it's a natural way to cope with scary news. And it's okay to feel that way. But we want to make sure that you get the right information so that you can understand how to move forward. And we do understand, and I do understand how difficult that can be. In my wife's case, she has been afflicted with MS, primary progressive MS, and it took 4.5 years to get a diagnosis. So for 4.5 years, we were on a little hamster wheel trying to figure out what was wrong. We tried to keep a positive attitude through the whole process, but you are faced with having to raise, small children, and if it weren't for our families being able to be supportive, it would have been a lot harder. So I'm very grateful that we've had that support throughout the years. The truth is, MS is different for everyone. So some people have the symptoms that can come and go, while others may have long periods without any problems at all. This unpredictability can cause so much anxiety because you don't know when the symptoms might appear or get worse. This is why information is so important. The power of information, taking control through learning. When my family went through this, it took us years to get that diagnosis, as I said earlier. Medical organizations don't talk to the other ones. It's getting better. And now you have different groups that are now starting to share information. But 22 years ago, it was very, very, it was a very, very closed system. And for the patient, that was extremely difficult because you had doctors saying one thing, another doctor would contradict what that doctor would say. And there are some great doctors out there today that really understand and have a compassionate and a clear and empathetic way of really giving the information to the newly diagnosed as well as those that have been diagnosed for a long period of time and dealing with it. So I think that the medical profession is getting better. I'm grateful for that. But let's face it, everyone is different and everyone has a different approach. But know that you as a patient have the right to be spoken to with care, with compassion, because you're the one going through it, not the doctor. The doctor may be, unless you find a doctor that is also diagnosed with MS, and there are a few of them that are out there, a couple of neurologists that I've come across, which is great because now they have a keener sense of what the individual's going through. So they're going to approach it a little differently. So you want to definitely know that you have the right to seek out the medical professionals that are going to, number one, be at the top of their game in their field, and number two, and you want to make sure that they have a connection, because it's not going to work if you don't have a connection with your provider, and that's important. It's not about just paying the copay or paying the bill. It's about making sure that you have someone you can trust and you can confide in and be honest with them about all of your medical conditions. Okay, information is your best tool. There are really great books and trusted websites like the Mayo Clinic, Multiple Sclerosis Society, and a couple of others that are really great. Look them up. You have tools today that we didn't have available 22 years ago, and you can really focus in on accurate information. The other thing is managing the MS on an everyday basis. There are some simple steps to feel better. When you're living with MS, that means managing your symptoms day by day. And here are some ways that you can help with that. You can work with your healthcare team. That means your doctors, your therapist, and they do want to help you. See your neurologist on a regular basis to check up on your MS. Make sure you're taking your medication as it's prescribed. Okay, you can't forget to do that. Okay, and today, everyone has some type of cell phone. So one of the things that we do is we use the technology, which is the alarms, to make sure it's a reminder for her to make sure she takes her medication when she needs to take it. Now, there are going to be times that you may oversleep and you don't take it right away, or you're really not feeling well and you fall back asleep. You're going to have those one-offs, and that may be okay. That if you take it late. But you don't want that to be the normality. You don't want that to be the rule. You want to be able to make sure that you're taking your medication as closely as is prescribed on a regular basis, because it is going to be able to help. Now, if it's not helping, then you need to have a conversation with your healthcare provider, your doctor, and say, this isn't working too well. Let's see if we can find something that works better for me. Maybe it's the side effects that are giving you a problem. The other thing that you can do is exercise. Now, if you say, "Well, wait a minute, I have MS, I have mobility problems," there's all types of exercises that you can do with mobility issues and without mobility issues. So there's always something that you can do to get the circulation moving. They also have TENS units and different types of TENS units that can stimulate muscle movement. And that's important because you don't want atrophy to sit in. Eating lots of fruits and vegetables gives your body the nutrients that it needs. Healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts are good too. Drink plenty of water. And stay hydrated. Or if you're not able to drink water, so there's some folks that get nauseous with just drinking water, then use Gatorade or some type of sports drink that are going to be able to put those amino acids back into your system. You need to make sure you stay hydrated at all times. You want to get enough rest. Fatigue is a big component with individuals with MS, where you're feeling very tired. And that's common with multiple sclerosis from day one. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day makes a difference. Whatever that time cycle is, you want to make sure you stay to it. Try to have a bedroom that's calm and comfortable, and it's a really nice place to sleep. So if you need to take a nap during the day, keep it short so it doesn't affect your nighttime schedule. Stress can affect your body in so many different ways, but with folks with MS, it goes beyond that. Stress can trigger what is known as an MS attack or an exacerbation, which can then make the MS symptoms worse. So we want to be able to identify what are the stressful points in a person's life. Okay, try to keep a keen eye on how you manage stress. Maybe you can get involved in yoga, breathing exercises, meditation. These are things that can help bring that level of stress down a notch or two. A really good support network and a supportive family, you can have them help you to go through it and go through that exercise and that breathing and that meditation process with you. Sometimes it's a lot easier to go through it with someone in the family because they'll get a better understanding. MS symptoms can affect your body in a lot of different ways, and there are some tips here to balance the problems. You can use a cane or a walker if you need to. A physical therapist can teach you how to exercise to improve your balance. There's a lot of things that they've come up with today. Muscle spasms. Wow, if you were just newly diagnosed, you may have had those muscle spasms, and maybe your arm is twitching or your leg is twitching uncontrollably, and you're not able to calm it down, and you didn't know where it was coming from. That's scary in itself. But that is a trademark of having multiple sclerosis. You can have uncontrollable muscle spasms where there's not enough circulation getting into that part of the body. So the body is really just trying to fight back and kind of jumpstart it. And in that jumpstarting process, that's when the muscle will spasm, uncontrollably. And it's usually, that also happens if you have low sodium, or you sweat a lot, or maybe you sweat profusely and you've done some work and you haven't replaced those amino acids, in your body. That can happen. And that could be something that you may not have paid attention to prior to getting a diagnosis, but these are things that we want to pay attention to on a regular basis now. Okay. The other issue that and not everyone has this, and again, it depends upon your level of MS. It depends. Everyone's body chemistry is different. But the other issues that can crop their head, that can bring their head up, is bladder issues. So you want to plan for bathroom breaks. You want to do that as frequently as you can. Okay. Do pelvic floor exercises, and you can speak to your therapist about that. Okay. And how to properly do that. Avoid drinking a lot of caffeine because the caffeine can initiate a bladder release. So if you're a big coffee drinker, and I know I am, and so is the wife, we used to drink even more coffee than we did before, but she does enjoy her coffee at least twice a day. And it's great, but we know that she has to limit that. So, and again, that's her body chemistry. It doesn't happen for everyone. So you want to make a little journal of things that happen to you. Maybe it's a food allergy. Maybe you notice that the spasms happened after a certain time of the day. Well, what were you doing before? So this is why it's important to journal those things. And I know it's a lot of information I'm giving you today, on this routine of taking better care of yourself, but it is important. And I'm just trying to make it as clear and as easy as possible so that you can have a direction. And I think about, we didn't have a direction for 4.5 years. Now we want to be able to give folks a direction right coming out of the gate. Okay. Remember, you're not alone. You are more than your MS. And with the right support team, you can live a full and meaningful life. So thank you for listening to the Multiple Sclerosis Today podcast and the topic on the patient perspective. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who may need it. And if you feel that this podcast has been beneficial to you and your loved ones in exploring your MS journey, please hit the subscribe button so that you can receive automatic updates and notifications on upcoming podcasts. If you would like me to cover other topics involving multiple sclerosis, just drop me a request at multiplesclerosistoday@gmail.com. That's all one word, multiplesclerosistoday@gmail.com. So thank you again, and take care, and we'll see you next time on Multiple Sclerosis Today. Living with MS can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to define you. Whether you're newly diagnosed or supporting a loved one, the book Living with Multiple Sclerosis, a guide for patients, families, and caregivers, will help you define what is multiple sclerosis, understanding the effects, and learning how you can control your MS. The book also talks about MS in children and adolescents, treatment options, caregiver strategies, using technology, financial planning, employment strategies and disability, real patient perspectives, family dynamics, hope, support, and practical advice. So order your copy today and take control of your journey and empower yourself and your loved ones. Available at Amazon.com.